Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of How to Read Architectural Plans. My name is Matt, registered architect in Philadelphia. Today we're going to review demolition floor plans. I'm excited to do this session because there's a lot of nuance that exists when you're dealing with existing building renovations, and the way that we manipulate our graphic standards in a project will be very different in a renovation project as opposed to a new construction project. So if you do a lot of renovations in both the residential and commercial space, I think this is going to be a very valuable session for you. This is a chapel renovation that I worked on a few years ago. Here's a rendering. I just want to show a rendering of kind of what the inside looks like. So here we have the, what's going on here? Here we have the pipe organ. We have some stands for the choir. Really nice, beautiful vaulted space with these heavy timber beams. We have some track lighting, some baffles, and some ductwork. The ductwork is kind of unfortunate, but unfortunately we couldn't figure out any other economical option with the MEP engineers. So it's a two-story building. As you can see, we have a basement, we have a first floor, and let's zoom in real quick. So first, let's take a look at this key plan. So the fact that it is a renovation project suggests that there could be, new components, new interior walls, but there also could be new additions. So graphically, we're showing this as the existing building, this gray hatch, and these two white hatches over here are the proposed additions. At the front of the building, we have a, this was like a big assembly vestibule space that we added. And on the side here, this was kind of just like a storage addition because this place really had no storage for chairs and various things. So we added a little storage component here. We have our north arrow, shows plan north. So if I zoom out on the demolition plan, you'll see that this bar, this gray bar, just basically represents this space. So with the demolition plan, of course, should be obvious, but only the existing elements are going to be shown. So none of the proposed walls or the proposed layouts, the new spaces are going to be shown. So if I zoom into the basement here, you'll notice that there's two graphic standards for walls that we're seeing, and it is kind of confusing if you've never seen this before. But basically, we have this solid gray hatch that's all the way around, and you see it cuts through this wall as well. If I go up, there's some more of this line work that is shown with this gray hatch. That means that is an existing part of the building. Existing to remain, and it's not getting demolished. Whereas these dashed lines, these are interior elements that are getting demolished. So these walls are getting demoed. These doors, looks like there's I think this is a marker board or a TV or something. There's a mechanical chase. We have some casework. Toilets are all getting demoed. Stairs getting demoed. If I go up to the main floor, same thing. Stairs are all dashed. The church pews are dashed. That means they are getting demoed. We have some windows here that are getting demoed because remember, we have an addition that's going to go here on the right side. So all these windows are getting demolished. There's a section of wall as well right here, like exterior wall, that's getting demolished. Now I want to mention this whole existing solid hatch versus dashed hatch is not an industry standard thing. That is just how this firm likes to graphically represent their projects. On other projects from different firms, it may be different, but just know that there will be a distinction. It could be a color, it could be a line weight thickness, and there's probably going to be a key somewhere in the project that's going to tell you explicitly what is existing and what is getting demoed. So as I'm looking at all these lines and all these walls and doors and all these elements, you'll notice there are these keynotes. If you've seen any of my videos, I talk about keynotes. I've talked about keynotes before. Basically, all these numbers are pointing to these specific items, and they reference the keynote legend, which is elsewhere on the sheet. So here we have the demo keynote legend. Here is where we can get a little bit more descriptive with the scope that we are pointing to. So we may not want to say remove window. That might not be enough. We might want to say remove existing window in its entirety, protect existing masonry wall openings to remain. It's a little bit more descriptive than just remove the window. We're saying protect the existing masonry openings, because we're either going to replace it with another window, or where it's going to be a preserved opening that we want it to be clean for some reason. Let's look at a few other ones. So let's take a look at this. There's a dashed line that's going around this whole space here. You see that rectangle that's going around the pews? There's a D13 and a D24 that's pointing to that. So let's see what that says. D13, remove existing resilient floor finishes and base in their entirety down to the substrates. Okay, so that's basically highlighting this region around the pews, and it's trying to capture that piece of scope for that whole region. For D24, remove existing built-in pew seating in its entirety. So again, that's just, instead of having to highlight every single pew, every single chair, we're just going to draw a rectangle around it, and we're going to capture all that scope like that. Okay, we could look at a few others here. Let's look at some of the stuff with the stairs, D5 and D6. D5, remove existing stair, guardrails, handrails, and associated brackets in their entirety. D6, remove existing stair assembly in its entirety. So, okay, this is one of those things where it's like, we don't want to just say remove the stair. We want to say remove the stair and the guardrails and the handrails and the brackets. It may seem like overkill, but sometimes it's worth it to be overly descriptive, just so that you know that all of your scope is being captured and that there's no questions in the field. You got to understand that when you have guys in the field, it's taking time. Time is money, and you want to minimize the amount of questionable moments where people are just standing around because they don't know what to do, or they have a question that has to go upstream to the boss. They got to submit an RFI to the architect. You want to minimize all that as much as possible. So if you could be extra descriptive, it's a benefit. Okay. What else? Oops. Sorry, guys. So, what about these lines here? These dashed lines. These are called grids. You see the EX5, EX4, EX3. Excuse me. That's called a structural grid. So for a proposed building, if you have steel, or if you have some kind of load-bearing structural system, you would use a grid. Let's go to the floor plans real quick. Do I have them? Yeah. You would use a grid to, you'd set up your grid in order to establish kind of a logic for the structural elements. So if you take a look here, you see going left to right on the bottom is CBA, and then going from bottom to up on the right-hand side of our reception space is 1, 2, 3. We're basically just providing the coordinates for where these columns are going to go. So you see how the intersection of these two grid lines, there's a column there. There's a column here in this corner. We're locating the columns. That's also for the engineer to do their work. So if I go back up to the existing space, you'll see that these grids are tagged with EX, meaning existing. So EX 2, 3, 4. And if you look a little bit closer, you see where this D3 is right in the middle here. That looks like a column. And if you go up, it looks like these columns occur at regular intervals. Let's see what D3 says really quick, because I bet you that's like a stud wall wrapped in a column or something. Saw cut and remove portion of existing interior masonry wall assembly as indicated. Yeah, so I believe there is a column that was behind that we had to access. But either way, just so you're aware, if you ever see a bubble like that and a grid going through the building, that usually indicates that those are load-bearing or structural elements. That's that kind of covers the drawing nomenclature. Obviously, we don't have to go through every single note and all the verbiage, because I think that that's enough to kind of get you to understand what it is. Let's look at this D30 real quick, because this is interesting. It's indicating that there's going to be something happening outside here, so I want to capture this bit of scope. So let's look at D30. D30 says remove existing exterior ramp and handrails. Okay, easy enough. Easy peasy. Sometimes you can also have a demolition elevation. Demo plans aren't specifically, demo drawings aren't specifically reserved for just floor plans. Actually, I have another building up here right now, which I'm going to do a separate review of, but I just so happen to have this little exterior elevation demo drawing here. So this is part of a facade of a dormitory. These are little glass block windows, and there's a D46 note right here. So let's go trace what that means. D46, remove existing glass block fenestration as indicated. Provide toothed in brick infill to match existing. So this is basically saying that you're going to remove these glass block windows and provide brick infill. There may be like a new element that's going here or something where there's like a stair landing that might conflict with the glass block arrangement. So we're just going to say get rid of it. But yeah, just wanted to show you that you can also have demolition elevations as well as plans. Like any other sheet, we have some notes. We have some general demolition notes, which are especially important for renovation projects, because your notes are where you can include verbiage that's going to capture some of the more nuanced situations that you may encounter with a demolition project. So let's look at a few of these. Let's look at a few short ones. Number 2, all items designated as salvaged shall be protected and turned over to the owner. So like if for some reason the owner wanted to salvage the church pews, we would indicate in the plan that these will be, salvaged. That'll probably end up in the keynote somewhere, I would imagine. So yeah, that's that. Locations, number 4, locations and or elevations of existing items as shown on the drawings are approximate. Respective trades shall field verify all locations. This is an important one too. Before we put these plans together, I had to go out there and survey all this. I had to measure the entire building. I had to measure every window, the distance between all windows. There is a lot that you have to take into account, and your margin for error is it's always going to be there in an existing building. So that note is basically saying, hey, we did our best trying to capture all this scope. But if there's ever a problem, if something ever comes up with an inconsistency, it's on the trades to, if they notice it, to bring it up and make sure it doesn't cause any issues architecturally or anything that's going to cost any money. And that's how you read demolition drawings. That's pretty simple. I hope this was informative. Thank you guys for joining. I'm going to do a few more videos on this chapel project, and I'll be uploading them to my YouTube. If you found this content helpful, please like, subscribe, share it to your buddies, share it to your friends. If you have any suggestions for content topics, I am all ears. I am so excited to keep using this new setup, so please keep sending me your recommendations. Thank you very much. Have a great day.